Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to use some of these pink ginkgo beads and a few of these like ice blue little beads that I have from my stash to make a bracelet. We're going to use 3 strands of our pink wire, and we're going to put these together. Let's turn down and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, I'm going to cut about 3 10-inch strands of this wire, and then we're going to take our ginkgo beads, and they're going to sit in a stack of 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to put these little guys in around our extra where the other beads would come out where they're not going to sit. So well, actually, I don't think this little guy's going to go in here. I think it's going to go sort of like this. Ooh, come here, you. So it's going to look sort of like scales of a dragon, but we're going to have these little beads in the edge to fill in the holes. So it's going to sit sort of like this as it comes up. So it's sort of going to look like pink dragon scales with little blue edges. So this is about what it's going to look like. And we're going to just cut 3 10-inch pieces of our wire. We probably, hopefully, won't need that much, but if we do, we got it. So, it's 1, 2, and 3. Go. So now all we're going to do is we're going to take and start feeding these up here. So because these have 2 holes, we're going to go, come on you. These little guys don't want to show you where their hole is at. You know they've got one, but you can't find it. So there we go. And so we're just going to go on the outside like this with one of them, one of the strands. The next strand, don't want our beads falling off, so the next strand is just going to go through the middle, and it's not going to have any of the blue beads on it at all. They're going to go right here. And then when this one comes up, it'll go right in here, come back out of that one and into this one. So they're like this. Oops, that one missed that bead. Okay, tighten up, guys. So that's the second row. And then the third row is going to start with a new one. Oh, you know, I think we might have needed 4 strands. Well, if we do, we'll get a 4th one out here. Yes, we are going to need 4, so we'll get a 4th strand out here. This one is going to sit right here like this. Like I said, we're going to make our dragon scales sort of here. Then this one is the middle one right here, and it's going to have both of these in it, and it's going to slide down into place. Yeah, I'm going to have to get my strings straightened out here, but that's all right, we'll do that. So got to get them all of the same length so that they're not going all over the place. But what I'm going to do that is, oops, don't let that loose, is we're going to pull them all about the same length right here at the base. And then I'm going to take this green one and I'm just going to go over the top of these and hold them all together like that. Now this is a little bit too tight, so I'm going to spread these out before I put the piece on here. Oh, come on, you missed one. Now slide them all back down where they belong. And something's not wanting to cooperate here, but that's all right. We'll make it. Okay. Oh, that's because I have my middle one. The middle one here is not the middle one. It should be the far one here. So let's bring these back over the proper way here. Push you down. And as you can see, we obviously dropped a few things out of here. Like this one has come out of its over here. Nope, it's actually in the right spot. But our little blue one has came off. So we'll put that back on. And we're going to have to get that 4th line cut so that we can go up this outer side here. So we need to get our beading wire back out and cut another 10-inch section so that we can go up our far side here. So here's our beading wire. We'll pull this off, go up 10 inches, it's right here, and we'll cut this line. So we're going to get this one started by going up the outer one here. Now because we've got our bead stopper there, it doesn't want to go in. So we're just going to move the beads up a little bit. Push it in. We got to get one of our little blue beads now. Then we'll go into our next ginkgo bead. Slide everything down. Get our next blue one. And now we're going to pull this other line up so it's in the same position as our ones down here. And get it hooked into our bead stopper. So there we go. So now we'll just slide it down here. And we're just going to go up the line just like this. We'll have this one right here will go on the outer edge. And the next one, this is our side one. So we'll pull those up into place. Then this one over here, these two over here, will gather up the next ginkgo. Not you, you're on the outside. This one and this one. So we'll just bring these close together like this and feed our bead on, one on either side here, and just push her up and into place. So there we go. Next is the two middle ones. So we'll go up the two little ones, middle ones here. And now we need to put the two little blue beads on the outer, both of the outer pieces here. Now that we've got our little blue ones in, we will again put the pink ones on. And actually, these are a little tight here, so let's push them out some so you can see how it's laying. So it's going to look sort of like this, like dragon scales. So we take the two outside ones again, spread them just a little bit here, put them side by side so they will slip on easily, and on it goes. Slide it down into place. Then we take these two and we'll put these on. Oops, didn't get them close enough. They didn't want to go on together. So now we slide these two down. Oops, I got it flipped right here. Into place it goes. And then the middle one. So we grab the two middle wires. And in it goes. So as you can see, we're just going to keep doing this. Now we'll have the little blue ones on either side. And we're just going to keep going down the line just like that. So we have like a little dragon scale looking bracelet. Isn't that pretty? So again, two outside ones. Bring the wires sort of together. Feed on our bead. Slide it down into place. Go to the other two. Put them side by side. Slide the bead on. And then we're going to take the two middle ones. Get them side by side. Feed the bead on. and then the 2 blues on the outside. And then we'll just keep going up the line like that, like this, until we get as long of a bracelet as we want it to be. So that's what it's going to look like. Okay, as you can see, we have all the beads on now. And if you pull them together, they'll do like this and start scrunching. So we have to put an individual crimp on each one of these. And then once they have a crimp on, we're going to take one of the tubes that you use for, you use them for earrings and various other things. And we're going to slide over all those crimps and close those up. So we need to start by crimping, getting one of these crimps on each strand and then crimping them. Okay, because this needs to have a regular crimp rather than a ball crimp, a magical crimp, because of the way this is going to be crimped together here. I'm just going to take a crimp, put it down close, but it can't be too close. They have to be able to go all the way across, just right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this crimp, I'm going to put my crimping pliers around it. We're going to slide it down to about where we want it to be and squish. And then we'll squish the other way. And now that crimp is in place and it's pretty tough there. So we're just going to get 3 more, put them along the edges here. And then we will find the tubes that the crimps go into to hold this in place. Okay. Oops, this one's not holding. See if we can get it to. There we go. So now that we've got crimps on all of these and they're pretty much staying in place, what we're going to do is we're going to cut the line off. Oops. Just on the other side of the crimp. So now what we need to do is get these lines all pretty evened out here so that when we slide our slider piece through, they're all going to be close to the end over there. So this is going to be a pretty little thing. So we'll tighten this side back up again with our bead stopper. Which, as you can see, has now pulled these together again. We don't want that to happen when we get to that spot. But now we have to find some, the little tube that these will go into to hold this side together. Now these are the tubes I was talking about. And what you do, see there's a little crevice right through the middle here. What you do is you feed each of the strands through here with the one going through our little so that the bead wire goes into the crevice here. And I may need to open the crevice up just a little bit. It doesn't look like the wire wants to go into it, though it really should, I would think. Yeah, it should. So I may just need to work it a little bit until I get let's open this up a little more so we have more room to work right here on the end. Now what I may need to do is take cut a little bit more of the line off to the edge here. There we go. There goes number one. Number two. Now I am turning them a little bit so that when they go in, that little extra tail is sort of tucked across the top of the tube so that it's not getting in the way. See, it's trying to come out here out of the piece right here. But we want it to all go in there. And if we need to, we can trim just a little bit more off. And it looks like I'm going to need to on a couple of these because they're just a little too close. So we'll just trim a little bit more up. We want to leave a little tail just because of the crimp is not a magical crimp and we don't want them to come off, though they're pretty tight. So back in here they go. Come on, little one, go down in there. And now that we've got all four in there, we want to close up our tube. Oops, this one came out. We don't want that. Just push the end down here. And sometimes it helps if you just push it against something and push it down. Make sure it's tight. So that side is now done. So we'll push our beads down that way. Now this is obviously not going to be long enough for a bracelet, and that's all right, because what we'll do then is, because these ends have the spots here, the holders, we'll just put some extender chain on there with a lobster claw down the other side. So now we need to get into this side, and we're going to crimp these off. Now this one's a little different, because you see we're going to leave some, we'll have some extra wire in here because of we need to get these pretty much in the same place on this side. We can't just be sticking them wherever like we did on the other side, because we've got that we're going to have that slight gap right there. So what I mean by that is, once you put this on, it's going to go right here, and to go straight across, you see there's a little bit of line showing, and that's just the way it's going to be. So we need to get the crimps onto these four, and I'm just going to drop one crimp on each line to start with. So as you can see, we don't want them up as high as they fell, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to get our tube on. So let's get our excess, 4 excess crimps back into our bottle so that we don't lose them and they don't get in our way. And now we're going to pull these up. They have to come up just a little bit, because see, they're down in the groove of the ginkgo bead, and that's going to stop it from coming through. Now, if you're a little worried about this, you could get a little seed bead. You'd want a small one, like an 11 or something, to put down in there to drop those. And let's see if we can find a little 11 that we could do that with. We want a pink one if we've got them, and I'm pretty sure I do. I just have to find the pink ones. Well, these ones will work. These are little tiny pink ones. I could have put some of these on the other side, but I didn't, so it's too late to worry about it. Now these are crimped. So what we're going to do is take our crimp tubes back off. So this way the little seed bead will fall into this crevice, and you don't have to worry so much about getting these straight across as far as our crimp tubes are concerned. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a seed bead in each one of these lines to fill in the little bit of gap that's down there. And I actually should, like I say, should have done this with the other side as well, but I didn't. And it's not bad. It's a little bit looser than I would like, but it's not bad over there on the other side. So there are our seed beads on there to hold our crimp tubes up so that they're not quite, so that they'll be relatively even as they go along, as we put them in here. So let's get these back on here. Okay. Now, as you can see, now they're straight across. They seem to be giving plenty of gap space there, and that works fine. Now I have noticed that we're a little loose on this side over here. So we're going to take our lines and give them a tug so they'll tighten up down there. There we go. That's better. Now we got to get our crimping pliers back out. And we're going to crimp these guys here. Now we do need to leave a teeny bit of gap between our seed bead and our crimping tube because we've got to get that into the carrier. So okay. Now that one's a little higher than I would have liked it to be. I may have to see if I can move it back down because it is higher than I want it. But let's see. Let's get the other three done, see where we're sitting at, and decide then. So to do this, the regular crimper pliers have two little holes in them. See in the holes in the teeth? This one has a little tiny tooth in it. We call that the kiss because it looks like little lips. So you put that in that one first and you squish. Then you turn it around and you go into what we call the hug. Has no extra tooth, and I just broke my seed bead there. And it's not tight, but that's all right because I broke the seed bead. And so we're going to need to tighten this up some. But first we're going to get a new seed bead on here. And see if we can get this back in here place. Yep, we can. And then we're going to have to see if we can get this tightened some. Because it did not tighten up really good. Are you tight now, baby? No, you're still wiggling. So what I'm going to do now, because we're still wiggling here, I'm going to slide this down to about where I want it. Then I'm going to take my regular pliers and we're going to squish it some. Because it's acting like a, we're going to act like it's a, oops. We're going to act like it's a flat crimp. Is it tight enough now? Yes. Okay. So it's tight enough now. Let's get the other two done. So we're going to put the first one on into the kiss. Lift it up just a hair's breadth and squish. Now we'll turn it, go into the hug, and squish it. And there, it's in place pretty good. Now we'll go to the last one. Give it the kiss. Now we're going to go and we're going to give it the hug. Now we got to make sure that this one's wiggling again. See how I just moved it with my thumbnail? So we'll pull it down some. Well, maybe it was just the line was longer, and I think that might have been the case. Okay, so now that we've got those on, let's get our little seed beads out of the way. We're going to do and put these, nope, first thing we got to do is, like I said, make sure these are good and tight. If they are good and tight, which they seem to be relatively close to being tight, they're not moving with my thumb when I push on them. So then we're going to take our clippers, clip off the extra wire, all but just a teeny bit. Okay, extra wire clipped off. Now this one is quite a bit longer actually than I want it to be because it got really loose. This one is too. Actually, the only one that isn't really out of where I want it to be is this very end one. This is going to let it wiggle too much. I think this one is going to need a recrimp so that it pulls these up more. And the way to do that is simply to cut this crimp off. And since there's enough space there, once I pull it up tight, we will cut that off and then just recrimp it tighter. So, like I said, we've got plenty of space here. See how much we've got there? This one has a bit, but not as much. Same with this one. I think those are going to be all right. This one is much, much tighter. So pull this up. Cut this crimp off right at the base of it. Get the new one on. Get our crimping plier out. Give it the kiss. Then we'll turn and give it the hug. And let's see how tight you are. And now it's down actually a little lower than I wanted it, but it's good and tight. So we're just going to cut that extra off and get these into the tube. So we bring the tube up and start feeding these babies on. Now this one's going to be a little more difficult because it's got that seed bead there, so we want to pull it up tight so that it can go in. Come on, go into your line. Oh, you're closed. See how much this is closed? We're going to need to get in here and open it back up. It's too closed. And because this side is also closed, we're going to pull this tube off, open on this side, and get in and open this side up a little bit too. Okay, come on, just a little bit more. Okay, now we'll close that back up. So now we got to feed these into here, just like we did the other side. Now this one's going to be the most difficult to get on because not only is it the last one, but it's the one I've got a little tight here, the line a little tight. So we need to get just a little bit of gap there so we can get that line to go on the edge there. Come on, baby. There, we finally got her. Okay, close her up. Make sure she's good and tight. There we go. Now it feels like it's a little pulled, and that's probably it is because I got the inner ones a little bit looser. And look, that's one of the strings is sticking out right there into the gap. If I can get it trimmed. That doesn't look like it. That's all right. Okay, so now that we've got this all pinched and curled and into the carrier things, So you can see she's bumping up a little bit in the middle, but that's all right because it's going to go around your wrist anyway, so that's going to hold it. But you see there's a big, huge gap before we're done here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some chain and our lobster claw, as well as our jump rings, and we're going to hook it in to either side to get the length we need to finish our bracelet up. So we have some chain right here, and we just have to cut a length that we're happy with as far as getting our bracelet around our wrist. Since it's only about that big, we need at least a few inches. So I'm going to just cut it wherever. Bing. And I'm actually going to cut a few links for the other side as well. Good gracious. This is obviously steel chain. So now we'll put this chain back in, the extra back in the bag. We'll take our, I've got some jump rings right here, and we're going to jump this chain onto our ends right here. So the longer one on one side and a shorter one on the other. The shorter one we're going to put the lobster claw on, and then we'll put some kind of pretty on the end of the other one. Go for that side. And as you can see, we have a little bit of a, this one was a little bit flat inside here, and I didn't notice it before we put it on. I may have to see if I can unflatten it, because our jump ring wants to stick in there a bit. That's better. So we'll need to get a lobster claw to put on this side, and then decide on a pretty for this side. I have some that I use for pretties quite frequently, and that is these guys right here. So we'll just put one of these on the end with a jump ring. I'm not sure if this dinky one will be big enough or not. We'll just get a regular one. Actually, let's get two out so we can put the lobster claw on the other side. We'll open up one to put our pretty on. When we're using a chain like this, I like a pretty on the end. You don't have to put one on the end. I just like one there. I think it adds a little something to the end of the bracelet there, the extender chain. So now we need to get a lobster to put on this side, and then it'll be done. Okay, we have a lobster claw. Let's test it. Seems to be just fine. So we're going to open up this other jump ring. Hook it on the end of this little few links of chain here, and then finish her up. And now we have our bracelet all finished. Now, I'm not sure exactly how long where this goes to make the 7 that I like. Here's our bracelet mandrel, and the basic end is going to get us to about, yeah, come here, you. Let's get on here. Let's just hook it right close to the end here. So that makes it, at its tightest, it's about 6.5 or 6 1/4. And then you could, I'd put a very long extender on here, maybe even too long. Let's see how far of a chain we need to get to 8. Some folks have 8-inch wrists, so let's see how far and see how much. Maybe we can take some of this chain off. Oh, definitely we can take some of this chain off, because this is 8.5 and we don't need that much. So we're going to cut off this tail here that we have on here that's left right here, and we'll move our pretty up there because we don't need this much. So I'm going to cut this right where it's off right here. So there we go. And actually, we'll just get a new piece of new pretty, and we'll just leave this aside so that we can just use that for a different extender for whenever, if we need one later down the road. And we'll just get another one out. I think that's too small, so we'll get a regular jump ring out. And put our pretty on the end, and then we should be at about 8.5 inches when we're, if it's open to the full extension. There we go. So let's see where that does put us at. I'm fairly positive it's going to be about 8.5. So if we move this around, yep, it's almost 8.5, not quite. So we have plenty big enough for just about any wrist, from tiny up to average, beyond that to large. Now see, that's even 7.5 almost right there. So there's our bracelet, all finished. I'm probably going to bring this up like one more. So there we go, our pretty little ginkgo bead bracelet. Hope you enjoyed making this beauty with me. So anyway, here we are with our bracelet. Isn't that pretty? Got a long extender to the back. So we've made this with the pink ginkgo beads out of our SoftFlex Design Challenge Kit, Wicked Brew. I think it turned out really nice. I hope you enjoyed making this with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and again, we've been using the SoftFlex Design Challenge Kit, Wicked Brew, to make this pretty, well, I call it a dragon scale bracelet because it sort of looks like either a dragon scales or, you know, something like that. Could be snake, whichever you prefer to call it. Anyway, this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.